I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, June the 2nd, 2015. Israel's Channel 2 will air an interview tonight with U.S. President Barack Obama on the subject of Iran. The president was interviewed by journalist Ilana Dayan for the news program Uvda. A preview aired last night in Israel in which the president defended the deal being negotiated with the Islamic Republic. He told Dayan, I think, demonstrate, not based on any hope, but on facts and evidence and analysis, that the best way to prevent Iran from having a nuclear weapon is a verifiable, tough agreement. He said a military solution was not the answer. It, he said, would only temporarily slow down an Iranian nuclear program, not eliminate it. The president also acknowledged Israeli fears over the deal, saying he understood those concerns. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today once again warned that the deal with Iran would rather, quote, pave the way for attaining a nuclear weapon, and that the easing of sanctions against Iran would allow its government to keep sponsoring terror activities around the world. And staying with the Prime Minister, Netanyahu held the first meeting today of the Ministerial Committee on the Integration of Israeli Citizens of Ethiopian Descent into Israeli Society. Netanyahu had set up the committee after two separate attacks were reported on Ethiopians in Israel a few weeks ago, allegedly motivated by racism, something Netanyahu today said, quote, contravenes the ethos of the Jewish people. The Prime Minister told the committee today, we will also instill here a cultural change, not just in administrative or even legal decisions. We want to instill a cultural change in the hearts of all Israelis. Sirens sounded across Israel this morning, part of an annual drill in the country to practice emergency situations and the country's preparedness. Sirens were scheduled for tonight as well in order to give Israelis practice in responding to such situations, like getting to safe spaces both in the workplace and at home. Lebanese media reported that Israeli warplanes launched airstrikes on targets along the Syrian-Lebanese border today, in a region that is a Hezbollah stronghold. Hezbollah later denied the reports. The IDF did not confirm or deny the airstrikes, saying it does not comment on foreign media reports. Israeli Channel 2's Moshe Nussbaum later reported that Israel did not conduct the airstrikes. He said not every explosion in Lebanon is Israel. When there have been reports of Israeli airstrikes in the past on Hezbollah targets in that area, they are usually aimed at shipments of weapons headed for the terror group. President Barack Obama today posthumously awarded two World War I Army heroes with the Medal of Honor. Honoring the men, Sergeant William Shemin, who was Jewish, and Private Henry Johnson, who was African American. It's part of a continuing effort to recognize minority soldiers who may have been denied the honor because of their race or religion. On the battlefields of 1918 France, Shemin had run back and forth under gunfire in order to pull his wounded fellow soldiers to safety. Johnson rescued a wounded soldier while fighting off a surprise attack by at least 12 German soldiers. The president presented the prestigious medals, the nation's highest military honor, to the men's family members at the White House this morning. An Israeli magician set a Guinness World Record yesterday for the largest magic lesson. Haifa magician Cagliostro taught a card trick to a group of 1,576 5th and 6th graders from the city: Jewish, Muslim, Christian, Baha'i, and Druze. The trick was aimed not only at breaking the record, but at promoting peace and coexistence. Haifa Magic for Peace was organized by the Haifa municipality and the Jewish Arab Cultural Center Beit HaGefen. The cards used in the trick had words printed on them that could help rekindle a peace process, like dialogue, tolerance, and hope. Grammy Award-winning American Jewish violinist Eugene Drucker performed this weekend in Israel with the Ra'anana Symphonette Orchestra, bringing a painful, historic episode full circle. The Associated Press reports that in 1933, Drucker's father, Jewish-German violinist Ernest Drucker, was forced by Nazi officials to leave the stage in the middle of performing a Brahms concerto in Cologne, Germany. It is one of the first anti-Semitic acts committed by the new regime. He went on to join the Jüdischer Kulturbund, a segregated Jewish federation of musicians in Nazi Germany. 82 years later, Drucker's son performed the Brahms Violin Concerto in D major from beginning to end, saying he thinks his father, who died in 1993, would have felt a sense of completion. And turning now to our programming for tonight, Tuesday, June the 2nd, at 7:30, Director of the American Jewish Committee Paris office, Simone Rodin-Benzaken, talks about the future of French Jewry as she is honored at the 2015 AJC Women's Leadership Board Spring Luncheon in New York City. At 8 o'clock, Director of the Institute for the Study of Global Anti-Semitism and Policy, Dr. Charles Small, talks about the spike in worldwide anti-Semitism. At 9 o'clock, Sergeant in Reserve Benjamin Anthony, who defends the IDF on college campuses, describes his Jewish youth in the UK and his deep commitment to Israel and the Jewish people. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, June the 2nd, 2015. I'm Teisha Bader.